What's up, everybody? This is Rybo at the bench. Tonight I'm going to do a review of the SKX011J, or the Orange Boy, as well as talk about what I love about the SKX line of watches. I've said this many times on other videos, but it's my absolute favorite watch, particularly this one. And so over the past couple years, I decided I had to have every one of the major three. And so here's my collection right here. Gonna mainly focus in on the 011 and talk about kind of why I like it, I didn't think I would like it, and why maybe others are hesitant and should not be. Before I get into that, I want to say I am such an SKX nerd that I actually had a couple things made up. These are some coasters that I had made up, which I thought were kind of cool, and also some stickers of the 007 dial. Little bit of loom color there, but anyway, I had these made up. They've been featured in another channel, but I also sell them on eBay, so I'll put a link there if anyone wants to grab some. I don't make really a ton of money off of those, just something I wanted to offer to people if you are a SKX nerd like myself. But let's get into it. So real quick overview. So the 007, this is the K version. This is on a Watch Steward minimalist strap. I highly recommend these. I'll do a full review of those later, but it's a phenomenal strap, super comfortable. Probably the most comfortable strap that I've ever worn, even compared to like an Erica's or something like that. But I'll talk about that later. Here's the 009, also K version. This is on an Erica's original, also a great strap. This one bought off the forums, but it's blue with a red stripe and then orange stitching, which matches this watch perfectly. That's another great strap option. Another great watch. So I first got this one, then I picked up the 009. This has a sapphire crystal, and you can see some AR coating on that. That's the only difference. Other than that, it's stock. And then finally, the 011J. So this is a J model, and this is the 011. And these are kind of the top three SKXs. I know that there are others, but in terms of SKXs that share the same case, same size, same indices, that kind of thing, these are your main three right here. And so these are the ones I think about these as the true SKXs that people mostly refer to. So I love everything about these watches, and so here's my collection. But I'm going to focus on this one today, so we'll put these aside for right now. Might bring them back in a few minutes, but I want to talk about this guy. So this is on an Uncle Seiko beads of rice bracelet. This is not stock bracelet, obviously. Fantastic bracelet. I'll try to do a review on that as well, but you really can't get a better bracelet, particularly for this watch, than the beads of rice. It's super comfortable. I think obviously it looks like a Doxa in a lot of ways, but it's not a modded Seiko. It's not a Soxa. It is just a stock 011J, but the beads of rice really does add something, and it makes it incredibly comfortable to wear. So I highly recommend doing a strap upgrade there. Otherwise, this is fully stock. This is the original Hardlex crystal. Let me wipe that down. And everything else is stock, crown, etc. So just kind of first impressions. So I think that a lot of people shy away from the Orange Boy for really one main reason, and that is the gold accents. So there's gold around the bezel here, and then there's gold on the hands. Let me see if I can get that in camera. So I don't know if you can see that, but it is kind of gold accents on both the bezel and the hands, which is a lot different than here, right? So on both of the other ones, it's silver accent on both, but here it's gold. And a lot of people, I think, are turned off by that because of the bright orange dial paired with the gold accents. It just doesn't look quite right. I will say just right off the bat, I was definitely one of those people. I was not a fan. I did not get it until it showed up in person. Seriously, if you've never seen one of these in person, it is a totally different watch than you see photographed online. The gold accents are more orange than they are gold. They definitely are gold, but they have kind of an orange tint to them. So I think it works a lot better than people think. As for the hands here with kind of the gold brushed, I don't often pick up on that just in the sunlight. I don't think that it glints that much, and I think that's what a lot of people are worried about. So you can see as I'm playing with the bezel, you can see kind of the glint of the gold on the bezel, but not really of the hands quite as much. It's hard to describe if you haven't seen one in person, but I would just say if you're thinking about one of these, you're not quite sure, I would definitely try to see one in person. The pictures online just don't do it justice, and I think this guy looked so much better when I opened up the box and saw it in person, so I highly recommend you do that. The other thing that kind of was a turnoff to me at first until I saw it was, if you notice on the indices, on the loomed kind of pips that go around, on both the 009 and 007, you have, and I don't know if my camera will be able to pick up on this. Let me try with the 007, but you essentially have loom, and then you have a white outer ring around the loom on all those indices. With this guy, you have black outline around it. And I think that if you put these side by side, the thing that does is it makes the indices appear smaller. Although everything's the same size, because these have a white outline and this has a black, this one just looks more contained, it looks more defined. And originally I hated that because I really like the way this looks, and I thought if they did something similar, it would be a really cool look. But over time, and really, honestly, as soon as I saw it, I got it more. It just looks much more concise, much more neat when it's in person. And it's hard to explain, but the outline around the indices here kind of tie into the bezel a little bit, and it just plays really nicely, particularly with the white second hand. You can also see that there's a black second hand on the Orange Boy and a white second hand with a little bit of black towards the tail. On the 007. And I think it just plays really nicely. All those things kind of tie in, just looks very cohesive in person, whereas I think that's lost a little bit on the online pictures. So in that way, this is in some ways a very different watch than the other two, although really everything except for the colors are the same. But because the 007 and 009 share so much, this one is kind of a different beast. And I absolutely love this watch. I am not an orange person at all. I have never been an orange dial person at all. And yet I love this watch. The second I opened it up, I got it. I got it. It is totally a different watch in person than you see online. For anyone concerned about that, I would say definitely give it a try. I will say the bezel on the J version is, I think, much better than my other two. It's very easy to turn, just nice kind of tactile response, and I'm a really big fan of that. What's there to say besides that? Let me think. I think this one is an often modded watch, but when you open it up, when you swap out the bracelet and give it a shot, I think this guy stands on its own. This has gotten so much wrist time to me, just because it's such a great looking watch. And I do want to call out one other thing. If you look at all of the SKXs, and this is something that years ago originally turned me off from these different watches, they all have flat dials. The 007 has this flat black dial. Pardon the scratch on my crystal. That'll have to be replaced. You can see it right there. That blue flat blue dial, and then the orange has a nice flat dial, and it really adds something to it. It looks like it's gonna just age very well. It doesn't look like a fashion watch at all, and it's something that I've really become quite fond of. So let me think, what else is there to say? It's a fantastic watch. Definitely give it a shot. If you've been hesitant in the past, I would suggest trying to find someone who has one, or see one in person. But to me, just the pictures do not do it justice at all. So that's my love affair with the SKX. I'm sure I will bring it up in more videos. I highly, highly, highly recommend you give the 011 a shot. I'm glad I did. I think it's actually creeping up over my love of the 009. We'll see if it ever overtakes the first watch that I purchased in the 007. So we'll see. Last shout out, I got the coasters and the stickers. If you are such a nerd like myself, I will have a link in the description of the video. All right, thanks. Until next time, see ya.